didn't realize at first that Cooper was dead, I think because of hope and wanting him to be alive. So we were talking with each other. I said, hey, I can't open his mouth. Officer Dalmore yelled up to the crowd, is he choking? Because we couldn't figure out why we couldn't open his mouth. That's when Mr. Harris came by the side. I didn't know who he was at that point. I shooed him away because we were trying to still do CPR. And I believe that's when Officer Piper got there.
And you can see, this is one of the responding police officers getting emotional on the witness stand, talking about this little boy who died, a little boy who she could not revive. A tragic story, an emotional story, and it was a very emotional week #1 inside that courtroom. Joining me now is someone who's in the middle of all of it, our courtroom insider, Lawrence Zimmerman, who represents Leanna Taylor, the ex-wife of Ross Harris, and is the mother of that little boy who died on that day 2 years ago. Lawrence, thanks so much for being here. Let me start here. In his opening statement, the defense said that Leanna, then Harris, your client, knew about this sort of double life that Ross was leading, and he said that she had gone through his phone or saw stuff on his phone. Is that true?
Well, I'm not going to go into details that the defense is going to present at some point, but clearly she did know some of the things that were going on. You know, some things are a big surprise and some things weren't. But as Maddox told the jury and told the world, he's going to talk about that, and those issues were going on in their marriage. It was no secret to anybody. He talked about it at the church. He had an accountability partner. He was dealing with it. He wasn't leading a double life. The state says death, deception, double life. There's no deception. There's no double life. It can't be double life if other people knew.
You know, Lawrence, something else that came up, and I thought this was a powerful moment in the opening statement of the defense, said, you know what? Leanna Harris is someone who should hate Ross Harris. Should absolutely hate him. Lost her son. He was cheating on her, doing all these things, yet she's going to come into court and support him. That's what he said. Has your client spoken? And he also said, if the prosecution doesn't call her, we will. Well, has she spoken to either the prosecution or to defense attorneys in this case to prepare to testify?
Well, again, I'm not going to go into anything that they've talked about or who she's spoken with, but clearly she's going to come testify. She's never once changed her tune as far as supporting him, no matter what's come out. She's always thought this was an accident, always thought Ross was a good father. They're going to try to, I'm sure they're going to say, well, you didn't know about all these other things he was doing. Isn't it possible that you didn't know that he was a good father? But those are obvious. She observed him. He loved that child more than anything. And, you know, this is a case they want to make about demeanor. If that's all they have, I mean, demeanor is not how you convict people. Everybody acts differently. He just found out, like Charles just said, that he was responsible for killing his child. You have that emotion, you're in shock, and then you're told you're being arrested for it. I mean, it is not like going to be with somebody in the hospital who is about to pass away and you're sitting there watching them die. That's a natural process. This is completely unnatural. It's your child to begin with. And then the way it happened, and then you're now being arrested for it. I mean, you know, it is a sad, sad thing that they are trying to point out all these issues with his demeanor to try to prove their case. And I think Maddox spelled it out in opening.
Well, I want to ask you about that, about the opening statements, because we really heard two completely different versions of what happened. We heard about two completely different Ross Harrises. From your perspective, which one was accurate?
Well, obviously, everyone's going to say I have a bias, but I'll say this. The state only gave half the story. The defense completed it and told the full story and put it in context. Why didn't the state mention in their opening that you were never going to hear that Ross Harris researched hot car deaths, even though we told you that at the prelim? How come the state, which Maddox didn't even mention this one, during the prelim, the state said that Leanna Harris also researched children dying in a hot car, another untruth. There's so many false and misleading statements that were made from the beginning. Now that this case has started, everyone's going to hear it in context, and it's going to change the way people have their thoughts about the case.
All right, Lawrence Zimmerman, our courtroom insider. Appreciate it, sir. We'll speak to you next week.